Negotiation is give and take. What are you able to bargain with? Advantages, positions of strength. What will the prospect potentially sacrifice? Why is being profit-minded and focused on maintaining margins important? What you are able to bargain with will be very specific to your industry and the confines that your company expects you to work within. Here are a couple of examples. Better discounts for greater purchasing commitment or mix of additional products. Terms and/or conditions. I have worked in sales environments that have provided me with little or no room for bargaining, and I have also worked in environments that have offered me a great deal of flexibility. The environments that restrict your ability to bargain can be confining. However, they can also force you to raise your game and set the sales scenario up for success while closing the door on the option of negotiating. If you set up a situation that allows for a disproportionate or imbalanced degree of taking on the prospect's part, you set yourself up for disappointment and undesirable outcomes. When prospects ask for concessions, be prepared to ask for something in return. Once they understand that there are rules to the game and that you expect something in return, it changes the landscape of negotiation. In order to be a shrewd negotiator, you must prepare yourself in advance. Know what you can legitimately ask for. What will the prospect potentially sacrifice? Purchase volumes, maybe inventory, or committing to greater inventory levels, which would result in an upsell for you? Moving forward sooner based on a sense of urgency that you are in control of? Early shipment so that you can meet quota goals within a specified time frame? Special arrangements that benefit you? Competitive leverage or an agreement to gain additional competitive market share? Being profit-minded and focused on maintaining margins is important because sometimes salespeople can get so focused on getting business or stealing it away from a competitor that they get stupid about it and do so at less than acceptable margins, terms, or conditions. There is nothing wrong with having a conscience, but I've actually witnessed guilt in sales representatives for selling an item at full retail. Some of the reasons this feeling of guilt may occur are as follows. Their perceived value of the item. The last person they sold to was a better negotiator. The item was on promotion last week or last month. They know the wholesale cost of the item and they are shocked at the markup. They have seen the same or similar item elsewhere for less. They purchased the same item for themselves and received the employee discount. They don't believe the item is worth the asking price, which shakes their confidence. They have too much empathy for the customer, especially if they tell them a sob story. Or they have forgotten that it is their responsibility to keep their company profitable. All pricing is based on what the market will bear. Suggested retail pricing is exactly that, suggested. If a customer is willing to pay suggested retail price without insisting on a better deal, there is no crime. On the other hand, if they are intelligent enough to negotiate a better bargain for themselves, then you should respect this individual for their good sense. The rule of caveat emptor always applies. Price gouging is taking advantage of an individual purely for profit. An example of this is doubling your price because you know the customer trusts you. Or even worse, you are taking advantage of a circumstance. I remember after an earthquake in California, a locksmith was selling his services for 10 times the normal hourly rate. He had people with their back against the wall, and he was profiting from a natural disaster. If they didn't want to pay, then he refused to do the work. Although I'm sure he would argue his case, I believe that what he was doing was purely unethical. In fact, it is your responsibility as a sales professional to uphold your margins in all business dealings. If you fail in this responsibility, then you are doing your employer a disservice. What justification is there for them to remain in business and employ staff, including yourself, if they do not benefit from their risk? Full disclosure doesn't mean that you have to offer the customer every single detail about your product or service, including pricing details. Withholding information is not a sin. I'm not suggesting that you be dishonest, but loose lips sink ships. If you are employed in an industry or company that you feel is overcharging, whether they are or not, you'll either have to get over it or move on. The truth is, people will pay a premium if they perceive your product to have a greater value. Some factors that will determine this are convenience, availability, delivery, terms, quality, brand awareness, company reputation, past experience, time urgency, relationship, trust, location, service support, they dislike or distrust your competition, pleasant shopping experience, selection, confidence in your employer, or you made them feel special. It is your job as a professional salesperson to elevate the perceived value of your product. When you have successfully done this, you will feel you have earned their business and you won't feel guilty. Remember what Philon said, the more you say, the less people remember. The fewer the words, the greater the profit. How do you know if the prospect is prepared to move forward? The prospect is in the right frame of mind, relaxed and willing to participate. You ask them and they have said yes, or in a less direct manner, you have asked them, if I am able to eliminate that one concern, would you be prepared to go ahead? And they say yes. They made other less direct statements that strongly suggested that they wished to move forward. Body language and facial gestures indicate they wish to. You should still clarify by asking in order to be certain. You managed to agree on almost everything, and there is only a small number of obstacles evident. The secret to successfully winning sales negotiations is to follow a proven process that allows you to understand client concerns and issues, identify needs and selling opportunities, and then build value in your solution to the point that there is a perception of great value. This approach creates a situation similar to this quote by Francois Findlien. Most people I ask little from, I try to give them much and expect nothing in return, and I do very well in the bargain. A very critical component of negotiations is power. People involved in negotiation, willingly, knowingly, or subconsciously, use their ability to influence others and control in a negotiation situation. There are 8 possible ways in which an individual gains or has this influential power. Title power. Use of their or your own title, but don't be intimidated by other people's titles. Reward. Giving you the business. Punishment. Taking the business away. Expertise. Knowledge and/or time-related experience in a given field or industry. Situational. Right place at the right time. Someone promoted beyond their skill or competence level can have, use, and abuse power over other people. Charismatic. Overwhelming personality, which can be used for personal gain and benefit in an abusive manner. A spiritual or magnetic power or personal quality that gives an individual influence or authority over people. Referent. Power to hinge one or several points of negotiation on one key or initial point of discussion. Coercive. An individual or group who have something that they can hold over you, therefore forcing you to meet their demands. Learning Spotlight number 2. It's time to review what we've covered so far. Each question in the quiz has a 90-second time limit, and the quiz has a 15-minute time limit. You cannot pause the quiz once you begin. The quiz includes many types of questions, including true or false, drag and drop, multiple answers, etc. Read the questions carefully and make sure you understand what is being asked before submitting your response. Many of the questions or variations of them will be included in the final exam. You will be graded, and the passing grade for the quiz is 70%. You will have 3 chances to attain a passing grade. If you fail to attain a passing grade after 3 attempts, you will be locked out of the course. You will have an opportunity to review the quiz responses upon successful completion. If you wish to review the previous slides and sections, do so before advancing. Upon completion of the quiz, please click on the green Next button with the white arrow in order to advance to the next step in the learning path. This concludes step number 4 of the learning path. Please click on the green Next button with the white arrow in order to advance when you are ready to proceed.